Hi everyone. Today is October 27th and starting to get on a roll with doing these card a day or card every few days or card on any day that I get around to pulling a card and recording it. Again, this is the Anubis Oracle by Nikki Scully and Linda Starwolf. Just to honor their beautiful vision to bring these cards to being. And go ahead and shuffle them up and see what card wants to come out for us today. Just a little aside while I'm shuffling, I don't see cards as fortune tellers. They're not about telling the future. They're about receiving guidance for the now, right? Gaining perspective on whatever questions we may be carrying. Receiving messages to help us in our choice making. And choice making is always present tense. It's always right now. You know, we've made choices in the past, that's done, but we make choices now that affect the future. But the choices we're making are always current, always now. So when we can receive guidance and support in our now time, look at that. Let's see. There are two cards. There's actually three here that popped out. Ooh, and that one's like really jumping out. So let's pull them all aside and we'll start with this one that is really falling forward. This card is the key card. This is Anubis. And on the bottom here it says opener of the way. There's a lot going on in this image. We have Anubis, or Anpu is his original Egyptian name. Anubis is his name that was laid over him later on by the Greeks. We have the tree of life with the pomegranates, the fruit that is ripe. Right? It's not green fruit, it's not flowering, but it's ripe. We have the rainbow serpent here, which in this deck represents the god Thoth in his serpent form. We have the dove above him here, carrying an olive branch of peace. And in this deck, the dove represents the initiate, the beginner, the one just starting along their way. It could be equated to the Fool card in the Tarot deck, but in this deck, it is the dove. And so what is true about all of us is we're always the dove. Doesn't matter if we are masters in our field. Each moment is a new moment. Each day is a new day. Each week is a new week. Each month is a new month. And so no matter how far along our path we are and how much we know, we are always the beginner. Each breath is a new beginning. Each thought is a new beginning. Each moment brings us into the presence of the next moment, and so on and so on and so on. And the more we can arrive into that kind of wide-eyed, innocent wonder of the dove, of the initiate, of the beginner, the more the path opens for us. In this card, Anubis is the opener of the way. So if we're arriving again and again and again as the initiate, as the beginner, right, there's Anubis with the key to open the door to right now and right now and right now. And you'll see in his chest, there is a heart. In the ancient days, his mythos talks about how he was the one who would take the spiritual heart and weigh it against the feather of Ma'at. Now, if that heart was heavier than the feather of Ma'at, and the feather of Ma'at represents truth, justice, balance, harmony, reciprocity, natural order, cosmic law, right? Ma'at was the foundation upon which all of everything exists. So he would take that spiritual heart, and if it was heavier, then the heart and the soul of the person whose heart is being weighed would be devoured by a demon goddess. Her name is Amet, and she was a hybrid of a crocodile and a hippopotamus and a lioness. And so she was a mixture of the three fiercest beasts of the ancient world. And she was very hungry. You can imagine if she's a lion, hippo, croc, she's like starving and she's wanting to eat up your soul. However, if your heart was lighter, or at least balanced with the feather of truth, then you've led a good life, right? Your heart is pure. You've atoned for your wrongs. You've made choices in your life that lead you along a good path. Doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. It just means that you are present and arriving with truth as best you can at every moment. And so that was his role, the opener of the way, the opener to allow us to walk on our path in a way where we can make these choices from the place of the initiate, of the beginner, without, oh, I already know that, right? None of that, here I am again. Here I am again. Here I am again. Those of you that know me know that that's a theme that echoes through all my teachings again and again and again. We arrive and we arrive and we arrive. And so the snake here is wisdom, wisdom and transformation, right? Wisdom and transformation, wisdom in knowing that we don't know, wisdom in arriving into each moment to receive whatever this moment has to share with us. Right? Because it's in this moment that the ripe fruit falls into our hands. It's in this moment that the seeds within the ripe fruit are ready to grow into what's next. The other thing with this card is it is a nighttime scene with the moon reflecting the light and the stars behind it. Right? It's not the sun ray shining bright behind him. It's the moon, which is also a Thoth is an aspect of the moon as well. And so what I see here is that it's in the reflecting of the light, right? That we each have the ability to reflect the light to the world around us. We receive the light, we reflect the light. We arrive into the moment and we step into the next moment. And we do so with this place of heart-centeredness. And we have the key, right? As long as we show up right here, right now, and pay attention to what is here right now, that's the key into everything that we need. So Anubis, or Anpu, the key card. And the other two cards that popped out are number 16, Wadjet. It says life force energy, purification, and divine awakener. And this one here is card number 6, Sobek and Horus. And it says reconciliation of opposites, forgiveness, and understanding. Now, Wadjet, she's the cobra, right? So you don't really want to mess with her, but she's powerful and potent. And she is what in other traditions would be called the Kundalini. The snake is one who, when it gets to a certain phase in its growth, it sheds its skin and slithers out, right? A new being. And so it's able to grow and let go of what doesn't serve anymore. The cobra was on the uraeus of the pharaohs. You'll see many, many, many images of that cobra right there, kind of at the place of the third eye. And they say that the cobra spits its poison into the pharaoh's enemies. And what that means is that we need to be present. We need to trust that we are being protected, right? That we're being protected. And if we don't feel protected, call in that energy of Wadjet. Sobek and Horus here. This is Horus the Elder. And Horus the Elder is the son of Nuit, the sky goddess, and Geb, the earth father, or sky mother and earth father. In the ancient Egyptian world, the earth was masculine and the sky was feminine. So it's sort of swapped from what conventional modern day thoughts are about that. And so he didn't want to come down onto earth, so he stayed flying up in the sky with his mother. His nephew of his namesake, who is also Horus, or Heru is their ancient name, was the son of Isis and Osiris. But this card represents Horus the Elder. And here with him is Sobek. Sobek is a crocodile. And this card is about reconciliation, as it says, reconciliation of opposites. And it's when we come into reconciliation with whatever it is we're struggling with, that we can come into a place of balance, of harmony, of peace, right? And in the world today, there's a lot of reconciling that needs to be had. There's a lot of opposites, my opinion, your opinion, their opinion, and their opinion, and whose opinion, and what opinion, and why are we all so opinionated? Why are we all so attached to our particular way of seeing, when what's true is we all see what we need to see from where we see it, right? It doesn't make mine right and yours wrong. It doesn't make mine wrong and yours right. It makes this beautiful kaleidoscopic opportunity for the world to exist in the way it does. The tree experiences different than the bee. The bee experiences different than the beaver. The beaver experiences different than the crocodile, who experiences different than the hawk. One of the other things this card is representing is the aspect of ourself that is the high mind, the neocortex, which is about reasoning, right? High consciousness, being able to contemplate even all that I'm saying right now, right? Whereas the crocodile, and intuition. I see the Horus as intuitive thought, right? The ability to intuit. The crocodile is reptilian. And it's our reptilian brain. It's our survival brain. It's that part of us with our belly on the mud, right? Just needing to get through our day, needing to make sure our survival needs are met, right? This is a very instinctual part of us, right? And when we balance our instinctual nature with our high consciousness or intuitive nature, and we bring those into reconciliation, then we bring ourselves into a sense of wholeness. There's a temple in Egypt called Komombo. It's south of Luxor, north of Aswan, and it's a temple that is dedicated to these two. And there are two access points in this temple, where most temples in Egypt have a singular access into the Holy of Holies. This one has two. One goes to an altar for Sobek, and one goes to an altar for Horus. And what's interesting about this particular temple, Komombo, you can Google it, Kom, Kom, and then Ombo, Ombo, Komombo. It's a beautiful temple right by the river. And it's a healing temple. I mean, they're all healing temples to one degree or another, but this one was like a hospital. And in fact, on the walls in the back of the temple, there is a carved scene of all these surgical instruments, right? And so this is where people would go for healing, right? And healing comes through the reconciliation. When a dis-ease, whether it's a physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual dis-ease, is reconciled, healing comes. So I think that's it for today. 3 cards. Sobek and Horus, Wadjet, and dear Mr. Anpu or Anubis. And of course, just a little asterisk at the end of all of this, you know, ancient Egypt spanned longer than we can remember. There's pre-dynastic Egypt, and then there's all the first kingdom, the middle kingdom, the later kingdom, right? So there is this huge, long span of time in which all of these various deities wove in and out and through. And then today in our world, we have all these people like myself and others who have relation with these various aspects and what they represent to us. So there's what's written, what's been translated from the hieroglyphs in terms of what we think they thought that these beings represented. And then there's the modern relationship we have with them. And so the modern relationship we have with them is very unique and individual to each person. So just because I work with Anpu in a certain way and he gives me certain information, that doesn't mean that that's the information that is truth, capital T truth. It's little t truth, like it's my truth. And so as we work with these cards, we learn to work with each of the energies in terms of that little t truth, right? Because the big tree truth, the Ma'at truth, that's a pretty big truth. That's like the truth of all that is, all that was, and all that will be, and not just here in this moment, but all the past and all the future, all that's happening on this planet, all that's happening in this solar system, all that's happening in this galaxy and in this cosmos and beyond, right? So whatever any of this means to you, I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for you and all that you do to help the whole be whole. Till next time.